Hopefully these markers are working. We'll find out, won't we? Page 390. Question 2. Ratios. Well, that one doesn't work. Wow. Wow. Ratio. During the last 6 years of his life, Van Gogh produced 700 drawings. Well, that one's not going to work very long either, is it? See what this red one does. He produced 700 drawings. There you go. And what? 800 oil paintings. And it says to write this ratio in 3 different ways. So, what are the 3 ways to write it? 700 to 800, 700 ... 800, and 700 over 800. Those are the 3 ways to write a ratio. Okay? Now, if you reduced it down, it would be 7 to 8, 7 ... 8, or 7 over 8. Both of those say the same thing. Question 6. What is it? What's question 6 say? Job seekers can expect 6 job leads for every 100 interviews. 6 for every 100, so that's 6 to 100. Or 6 ... 100, or 6 over 100. That's all you're doing, is just becoming familiar with this concept. Would somebody like to go over there to find at that counter and see if they have some more pens, more markers for in here? There's none anyplace else, huh? Number 8. When comparing 2 cans of mushrooms, name brand, 8 ounces cost $1.09. Eight is $1.09. That's name brand. Generic brand, what's generic brand cost? 4 for 53. 4 ounces for 53 cents. What do they want me to do? To the nearest tenth of a cent, what's the cost per ounce? If 4 ounces is 53 cents, what would 1 ounce cost? 4 to 53 would be 1, 2, you divide 53 by 4, what do you get? 1, 10, no, 3, and 1/4. Up here, 1, 2, divide that by 8. 1/8 is 8. 29. 3/8 is 24. And 5/8. So we've calculated, we've done A and B. C says, which can is the better buy? Well, this one is 13 1/4. That one's 13 5/8, so that would be 13 2/8 if you want to compare them. But I'm thinking, if this is Campbell's mushroom soup and this is Price Choppers, have you tasted the difference between Campbell's mushroom soup and Price Choppers? Does Campbell's taste better? Then, if this is 8 ounces for $1.09, this would be 8 ounces for $1.06. I'm spending 3 cents to get the one I like best. Number 10. Now it's doing washing liquid for wool. A&P's brand. A&P, their brand is what? 79 cents. 79 cents for how much? Problem 10. 16 ounces. And Ivory, I can already tell I have a bias here. And Ivory is $1.25 for 22. For 22 ounces. Guess we better get our little calculator out. We're going to need it today. Because they want me to do what? To get the price per ounce. So I turn this on and go 79 cents for 16 ounces. 1 ounce would be 79 divided by 16. 4.9. Here, 22 ounces cost this much. 1 ounce would cost 125 divided by 25, 1.25 divided by 22. So that's 4.9 cents an ounce. This is 5.68 cents an ounce. Well, I'm thinking, yeah, Ivory costs more because it's better. On the basis of price alone. Oh, so the guy who wrote the book knew I was going to do this takeoff on which soup is better, Campbell's or one of those other kind. So on the basis of price alone, which is a better buy? Basis on price alone, A&P's stuff is a better buy. Problems 11 through 16. Through 16, solve these proportions. X over 6 equals 5 over 12. Do all of you know about this? Well, you know what? Hope this will work. Watch this. If 2 times 6 is 12, what times 2 would equal 5? Would that be 2.5? Everybody see that? Can you see this stuff up here on the board? But the technique that the book shows using is you cross multiply. 12 times x equals 6 times 5. So 12x equals 30. So x would equal 2, 24, and 6/12, or 2.5. So you get the same answer. It's just a matter of which way you want to work it. Number 14, 6 over x equals 18 over 7. So again, change colors here. 6 times 3 is 18, so what times 3 would equal 7? 7/3 times 3 over 1, so my answer is 7/3. Or do the cross multiplying thing. 6 times 7 is 42 equals 18x. So x would equal 42 divided by 18. I don't know how long this is going to last. I don't see anybody out there to give us some more markers.
I didn't find any.
What?
I didn't find any.
Nobody's out there, huh?
No.
Well, then we're just stuck. Sorry about that. Man, that's pathetic. No, I didn't bring any with me. Got some in the other building, but that won't do us any good here. Number 18. No, let's skip number 18 because it's all messed up. Fortunately, none of yours are messed up like that. Number 18 has a misprint in it. Just so you know, it says a woman has several rectangular flower beds that she wants to be of equal area. Well, if you want them to have an equal area, you get one answer. If you want their dimensions to be proportional, you get another answer. So that's just a misprint in the book if you're looking at number 18, but we'll just skip it because all the ones you have are looking for proportional. This is all proportional problems, so we're going to keep doing proportional stuff. So let's go to number 20. When serving shrimp, you need 1/2 pound for 3 servings. So you see what you do? You just come up here and you write 1/2 for 3. 1/2 to 3. And 1/2 pound to 3 servings. Just keep your numbers straight there.
Dr. Bowman?
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it'll work, but I had one in my bag. It's a little one, if you would like to try it.
We'll try it and see what happens.
I don't know if it works.
So this says 1/2. That's better than what we have up there, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Did you find something? Good for you. Thank you very much. So 1/2. All right. To 3. And what they want us to do is they say, number 20, how many pounds for 90 servings? So they put an empty box here for 90 servings. Well, if you said, if you wrote this like over here, you'd have 1/2 over 3 equals empty box over 90. You follow the thinking? Well, what do you take times 3 to get 90? 30. So what's 1/2 times 30? 15. And if you did it to cross multiply, 1/2 times 90 equals 3 times the empty box. So you end up with 45 equals 3 times the empty box. So that makes the empty box 15. Any way you look at it, you're going to come up with 15. Okay? Well, number 22. This guy ate 74 tortillas in 30 minutes. So I just come over here and write 74 dot dot 30. 74 of these little things. Now what do they want to know? How many could he eat in 45 minutes? Well, he ate the same rate. So 45 dot dot empty box. So again, I just set it up as a proportion. 74 over 30 equals empty box over 45. And what happens now? 74 times 45 equals 30 times the empty box. So I take 74 times 45 and divide by 30 to find my answer. Is anyone confused about the process once you get here? You know how to simplify mathematically? So if you're hung up on that, ask a question. If I do something here and you say, where do you go next? But you see what would happen. The empty box would just equal this 74 times 45 divided by 30. That's what you'd be doing on your adding machine. Number 26. Variation. The amount of annual interest received on a savings account is directly proportional. Interest on a savings account is directly proportional to what?
So the amount of money.
To the money in the account. Now, when you see this phrase, directly proportional, that's a magic phrase in math. And here's what it means. Y equals K times X. So that's the directly proportional formula. Just put that down. And here, interest, I would equal K times M. You follow that? When you see that word, directly proportional, that means that you write Y equals K times X. K is called a constant, and you just put interest on a savings account is directly proportional. Interest is, that's equals, directly proportional, K times the money. Everybody see what we're doing? Everyone that says, anytime a sentence says directly proportional, when it says directly proportional, that's what you write. You're going to make that sentence with a K in it. So, this is A. What do they want us to do next for B? If $480 goes here, produces how much interest? $26.40. So 2640 equals K times 480. So what's K? K would be 2640 divided by 480. What is that? 26.4 divided by 480 equals, so K becomes 0.055. So I just found, maybe I should put it down here, 0.055. That's what K equals. So I found the constant of variation. Now watch what that means. They're going to give me so that's B. So I've done B. I found the constant of variation. Now let's look for C. How much annual interest would you receive if you had $750? So I come over here for C and I go, how much interest would I have if I had $750? So in place of M, I put 750. In place of K, I put what? 0.055. And I multiply those two numbers. And what happens when I take 0.055 times what? 750 equals, I get $41.25. Does that make sense? All of these variation problems are done the same way. They just change the context for you. Any questions about that before I erase it? So let's do 28. Let's just leave that up there. What does 28 say? The distance an automobile travels, so D, the distance an automobile travels varies directly. So varies directly means the same thing as is directly proportional. Proportional. That's not right. P-O-R. There's not another O in there. Leave that out. There. So D varies directly as what? For number 28? As the square, as the speed squared. Everybody follow where I get S squared? You square the speed times the speed. So what is A? A is I put D equals K times S squared. Does everybody follow where I got that formula? The distance equals the constant varies directly as the square of the speed. This is an important one to know. I'll tell you why. Look at number B. If stopping distance for a car going 30, so distance is 30 when this, 30 is the speed and the distance is 54. Distance is 54, this is B, and the speed is 30. So I take my formula, D equals K times S squared, and that would be 54 equals K times 30 squared. What's 30 times 30? 900. So K equals 54 over 900. Everybody follow that? So now I just found my constant. So now watch what happens. What's the stopping distance for a car going 60 miles per hour? So I come over here for C. What's the stopping distance for a car going 60 miles per hour? That would be 60 squared times, what was that number? 54 over 900 equals the distance. 60 squared is what? 3,600. So I have 54 over 900 times 3,600 over 1. So I end up with a stopping distance of 4 times 54. Is that 216 feet? Do you understand what that said? When I'm going 30 miles per hour, it takes 54 feet to stop my car. When I'm going 60 miles an hour, it takes 216 feet to stop my car. Almost four times as much. You follow what's going on? When you're driving 60 miles an hour, you should not be on the guy's bumper in front of you. If he hits his brakes, by the time you see his lights come on, it's too late to stop. You just rear-ended him. So this formula, this kind of stuff is important for down the road stuff when you're driving.
Dr. Bowman,
Uh-huh.
what does K mean?
K is called the constant of variation. That's the word. It's called the constant of variation. And math people don't know how to spell, so they just use K for constant instead of C.
Okay.
But that's what it means. See, that's why when it says it's directly proportional or it varies directly, there's always going to be this number K in there. That's the constant of variation.
How do you know which side it's supposed to be on?
It's always written this way. Y equals K times X.
Okay.
So that's where you always start with this. This is what you start. When it says directly proportional or varies directly, you start with that. And when you're reading it, when it says distance is, see, distance is the speed doubled, then I have to go, and if it says the distance varies directly as the speed, then distance is over here and speed is over here. Does that help?
Yes.
Good. Any other questions? Number 30. I guess if you're in a musical band, you ought to know this one. The number of new songs. Any questions before I erase all this? The number of new songs, I'm just putting letters down here to represent what we're talking about for number 30. A rock band needs to produce each year is inversely proportional . Inversely, I don't think I spelled that right. V-E-R-S-E-L-Y. Sure enough, I did. Is inversely proportional to what? The number of years they've been in the business. The number of years they've been a band in the business. They've been in the business. Okay? Now, we just changed. This is directly proportional. Agreed? So guess what? There's another formula. That's why I had you read that stuff. When it says inversely proportional, we have a new equation. Y equals K over X. That's the formula that you use when it's inverse. Inversely proportional. Okay? So you have to make the distinction whether it's saying, if it's saying directly, you use this formula. If it's saying inversely, you use this one. Let's do this one. Let's work through this for all of you who are in a band. Write an equation of variation. So I would use S is equals inversely proportional K over Y. You follow that? You see where that comes from? Y is the years they've been in business. S is the number of songs they have to write, and it says it's inversely proportional, or it varies inversely. Inversely follows this formula here. So I've done 30A. This is A. Now I'm going to come over here and do 30B. If after 3 years in the business, the band needs 50 new songs, so B, boy, praise the Lord, they have a big whiteboard in here. I'd be in trouble, wouldn't I? I'll see if I can get that screen fixed for our review. So if it takes what? You get distracted, John. 3 years in the business, they need 50 new songs. So it takes 50 songs. See why I put 50 here? Because that's where the S is. 50 equals K over 3. Everybody follow why I put it that way? Because this number is the number of songs, and this is the number of years they've been in the business. So what would K equal? Times 3 times 3. So K is 150. So my constant of variation is 150. So now I'm ready to do problem C. So, oh, they don't have C written there. Well, they do, just in a funny way. How many songs will they need after 5 years? So now I go, how many songs will they need after 5 years? You see where I don't know the songs, so I just put the S up there. And then what goes on top for K? 150. I just bring the K over and put it in there. So how many songs do they have to, new songs do they have to publish every year after they've been in the business 5 years? 150 divided by 5 is 30. So they need 30 new songs. When they've only been in the business 3 years, they need 50 new songs. So S equals 30. And that's the answer to C. That they didn't say C, they just asked the question without putting C in there. But you do this A, B, C every time. You start out A, you set up the formula with the letters used in the problem. B, you use the information they give you to find the constant of variation. And then C, you'll take the new information they give you, plug in the constant of variation, and find the new answer. Does that make sense to everyone? Good. Well, let's do something from science class. Boyle's law says that if the temperature is held constant, ready for me to erase it? Questions before I erase it? Okay. Boyle's law says what? Number 32. If the temperature is held constant, then the pressure of an enclosed gas, pressure varies directly as what? It doesn't say varies directly. It says what? Varies inversely. Varies inversely as what? As the volume. So, everyone see where I'm going to do my A? What's A? P equals V over K. No. K over V. Remember that? There's so many ways to get messed up with this stuff. So keep your formulas in front of you while you're working through these problems. So now we've set up the formula. Now watch what it says. If the pressure is 24 when the volume's 18, so it says the pressure is 24 when the volume's 18. So I come over here for B and I say, so 24 equals K divided by 18. So what would K equal? What's 24 times 18? 24 times 18.
432.
432. So K is 432. That's my constant of variation. So now I come over here to do C. You're going to do this on every problem. You just have to say, is it direct variation or inverse variation? What's the pressure if the gas is compressed to 12 inches? So now C says, what's the pressure if the gas is compressed to 12? See where I'm putting my numbers and why I'm putting them there? And what was K? So I replace K with 432. So the pressure is going to be 432 divided by 12. And what's 432 divided by 12?
36.
36. So the pressure is 36. And that's the answer that they're looking for. So you see how every problem is going to have this ABC, ABC. All right. Number 36, the price of oil varies inversely. So the price of oil, I'm going to use P again, varies inversely as what? 36. As the supply in millions of barrels per day. In 2000, the price was 26, and they produced 24 million. So I have P, well, come over here. B would be P, or this is A, sorry. A would be P equals S over K. And it said when P was 26, when the price was 26, S was what? 24 million. Just leave that 24 million. So, why am I keep writing that upside down? It's K over S. So 24 million goes down here. Keep that straight. Y equals K over X. That's inverse variation. And just keep looking at your formula, or you'll tend to write it upside down. It just looks easier if I write it upside down. Well, it's wrong, Tom. Don't write it upside down. Write it correctly. So, K is going to equal 24 times 36. 24 times 26. Was it 26?
Yeah.
Yep. So I go 26 times 24 is 624. So K is 624. So there's my constant of variation. So now I come over here and I put up a new sentence. And now what do they want to know? They're going to increase production to 28 million barrels. What will the price be? So now I come over here and I say, well, what will the price be when, what's my K? K over S? When,
624.
what is that, 36 million? Is that right?
28.
Is that what they said?
28.
28 million. I don't know where I got 36. 28 million. So 28 million. And what is K?
624.
624. So what's 624 divided by 28?
22.28571.
Equals what?
22.28571.
So 22.29 if we round it off, and that would be dollars per barrel. Number let's see, the rest of these all? 38's directly proportional. $40. Oh, this is fun. A radio contest. A guy in Kansas City named Don Burley says listeners' responses to a radio calling contest is directly proportional to the size of the prize. So, what does he say? The call is directly proportional to the prize. So that's this one. So we go calls equals K times P. And what does he say for number 40? If 40 listeners call when the prize is 100, so that would be, using that formula, 40 is K times 100, then K would equal 40 divided by 100. What would that be? 4/10? So K is 4/10. So now I come over here and say, what are they going to ask next? See, there's A, there's B, then I come over here and do C. How many calls do you expect for $5,000? So if the prize, how many calls can I expect for 5,000? If the prize is 5,000, and I take that times, what's K? 0.4. That'll tell me how many calls I'm going to get. What's 0.4 times 5,000? How much? 2,000? So I'm going to get 2,000 calls. I get 200 calls. Get 100 calls when the prize is $40. If the prize goes up to $5,000, I get 2,000 phone calls. I don't think old Dan Burley wants 2,000 calls, so he probably won't have 5,000 as a prize very often. Number, let's do one here. All the rest of them, all you have to decide is, am I doing direct variation or inverse variation when you read it? And then you do the 3-step process. Just make sure you're using the right formula for the right problem. They've got one here, number 45. Let's work one of yours. Because what does number 45 say? You're not going to tell me, are you?
The simple interest I in an account varies jointly.
The simple interest, and they call that I varies how?
Jointly.
Jointly. As what?
Time.
As time. And what else? And principal. And this is years. Everybody follow that? Oh, does that look like something you've seen before? Interest equals principal times rate times time. So what is R? R is my constant of variation. So using this, varies jointly, that would be direct variation. So that would be I equals K times T times P. Everybody follow that? See where that looks like that interest equals principal times rate? And the constant of variation is the rate. What varies is the time you have the money in there and how much money you have in there. That determines how much interest you're going to collect. So after 1 quarter, 3 months, and $8,000 principal earned $100 in interest. So that would be after 1 quarter. Interest, how much interest?
$100.
I'm sorry?
$100.
$100 equals K times what?
T.
How many months?
0.25 or 3 months.
3/12 times how much money was in the bank?
8,000.
5,000?
8,000.
3,000?
8,000.
8,000. 8,000. Where did he get $8,000? I don't know. Somebody gave him $8,000. Over 1. So what do we have here? 100 equals K times, what would that be? 2,000? So divide both sides by 2,000. And you get K equals what? 1/20, which would be what percent? Or what interest rate? 0.5. So K is 0.05. 0.05. So K is 0.05. So now watch what they ask. So how much would $10,000 earn in 5 months? So now I come back here and I go, how much interest would I get? K is 0.05 times 5 months would be 5/12 times how much money? $10,000. Okay? See what's happening? And then when you get through doing that math, you come up with the interest. Now, there's one more fun one on here. Number 47. Let's do that one for you too. Anthropologists use the cephalic index to study human races and groupings. And here's what it says. C is directly proportional to what? Can you figure that out from reading 47? To the width and inversely proportional to what? To the length. So now watch what I have for a formula. C equals directly proportional K times W divided by, because inversely says K over L. Everybody see where that formula comes from? Then you just plug in the numbers. The width of the head was 15, and the length was 21. And what was this? And the cephalic index was 98. This was 98. And the width was what? 15. And the length was what? 21. So I take 15 over 21, or take both sides times 21 over 15. Take 98 times 21 over 15, and that gives me K. So what is K? I don't know. Let's get our calculator out and let's just go 21 times 98 divided by 15 is 137.2. So K is 137.2. So that's my constant of variation. So now knowing that, I come over here and go C equals 137.2 times, what's the width for this next one? 20 inches long and 15 centimeters wide. times 15 divided by 20. See where I'm getting my numbers and why I put them where I do? And what's 137.2 times 15 equals, divide by 20 equals 102.9. Okay? So I just did 2 of your problems for you to save you having to mess with it. Stop when you get to 47. I suppose if you want to do those beer problems, you can, but that's enough. And I'll see if I can have see if they can get that thing going for the practice test on Wednesday. I hope that shows up for the online people. Wow, that's pretty hard to read.